Okay. So, very good afternoon to the organizers of the FDP as well as all the participants of this FDP. Today, I'm so happy to be here among all researchers. And as a member of IoT Academy, I welcome all researchers on this knowledge board. As I said that I am a member of IoT Academy. That means I have been associated as a participant with IoT Academy from the last, I think, 6 or 7 months. And I am very much thankful to IoT for providing me this opportunity to be here today as a speaker. But I'm not here to teach anyone. Not here to teach anyone. I am here to share my knowledge on research methodology with you participants. And as we know, learning never ends. Thus, I am also looking forward to gain something by interacting with you all. Actually, research is a very, very important tool for our society, our nation, and all over the world. And I'm so happy to see so many researchers as well as seekers of knowledge who have joined today to take this knowledge forward and make our country and worldwide a knowledgeable economy. And for this, research methodology plays a very, very important role. Many participants from all over the country have joined us to impart this knowledge on research methodology. So let's start with today's session. In this session, you are going to learn about the basic understanding of research methodology subject. What are the different types of research? What are the classification of research? And finally, we are going to learn about the research process. Mainly, the research process is mainly composed of 8 different steps. So today I will try to make it a brief lecture so that we can finish it within 1 hour. Actually, research methodology is a very wide topic. It has 8 process, but it is a very wide topic. So today I will try to make it a brief so that we have to, because we have to finish it within 1 hour as instruction by IoT Academy. So let's start with defining research methodology. I will share my PPT to you participants. Is it visible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible, ma'am. You can continue, ma'am. Thank
Okay.
you.
So the first question is, what is research methodology? As we see, research methodology is a combination of two words, that is research and methodology. So we have to first clarify the meaning of research. The research itself is a combination of two words, that is re and search, which re means again and search means to find something new. All right. So the term research means to find something new again and again. And the term methodology is the way, is the method, that how we are doing research, that is a methodology. The steps to follow the research, the steps to do the research, that is methodology. Right. So research methodology is defined as the specific procedure or techniques basically used to identify, used to select, to process and analyze information about a particular topic. All right. So, research basically includes scientific investigation principles, which we called as the research ethics. And I think you all have covered the research ethic principles in yesterday's session very well. So, let's start with the ingredients of the definition. These are the basic ingredients of the definition. The definition of the research methodology includes these different types, these different words in it. That is identification. Research methodology is the process of identification, then collection, then analysis, then disseminate, then use of information. So let's start with explaining what do you mean by identification. So if I explain what is identification, it means you have to identify a problem. You have to identify a research problem. A research problem already exists, a problem that already exists, or it is going to come in the future, or maybe you are going to extend your knowledge about any context with the help of research. That is the identification. All case you have to identify your topic, your research area very clearly. So the first definition ingredient is identification. That is identification of your topic, identification of your research area, identification of your research problem. All right. So the next and second ingredient is collection. Collection, basically, what is collection? Collection means the evidences. You can consider them in the form of data. All right. So data, when we talk about data as a layman, data. What is data? Data is the collection of raw facts and figures. But in case of research methodology, data means which we have to convert into useful information, as well as we have to analyze it, as well as after analysis we have to communicate the result to the respondents. All right. So research methodology, data is not only the collection of raw data and the conversion of raw data into useful information, but it also includes the after conversion. We have to write a report on that. We have to communicate the result to the respondents. As we all know that collection of data, there are different forms of collection of data, but in research methodology we call it as primary data and secondary data. Primary data, we all know that primary data is the first hand data which is collected by the investigator himself for his own purpose for the first time. The primary data is original in nature, it is collected by the respondent himself, whereas the secondary sources of the data is collected. Secondary sources are those sources where the respondent already, the investigator, the researcher or investigator uses the data which have already been used by someone else for their research. All right. So if we talk about the examples of data collection methods, it is primary data collection method and secondary data collection method in research. So if we collect the data by survey, by questionnaire, by telephonic interview, these all are the sources of primary data collection. Whereas the data obtained by journals, magazines, newspapers, books, so these are the sources of secondary data collection. So the second, after identification, we have to collect the data, so that so these are the so that so these data, these collected data are the evidences which you collect and analyze after receiving the information. So the third step is analysis. After collection of the data, we have to analyze the data. So analysis is the third ingredient of the definition of research methodology. And in analysis, I want to explain that in research methodology, we have done basically, we will do basically three types of research analysis. That is, first is univariate analysis, second is bivariate analysis, and third one is multivariate analysis. So when we talk about univariate analysis, it means uni and variate. Uni means single and variate means variable. Univariate analysis always deals with the single variable. So when we do the univariate analysis into our research, that means it includes the descriptive analysis, the questions that is the descriptions, that the age of the respondents, category of the respondents, and these are the descriptive analysis, univariate analysis of the respondents, whether the gender of the respondent. These are the univariate data analysis. And when we talk about the bivariate analysis, bivariate is also a combination of bi plus variate. Bi means two, and variate means variable. That means bivariate analysis deals with two variables like x and y. For example, if I have to study the two variables, that is sales and price, what is the effect of price on sales? So here we have two variables. First is x and second is y. We have to check whether the correlation between sales and price. We have to check whether the uh, n- uh, impact of price on sale. So when we use two variables for our study, it is called as bivariate analysis. And lastly, we have multivariate analysis, in which we use mostly multiple regression analysis. By multivariate analysis are those analysis in which we have to evaluate, we have to analyze more than two variables, like three variables, four variables. So that is multivariate analysis. Now, after analysis, you disseminate the information, as well as the use the information in order to make your decision, or to try to solve any issue or any challenge. This is how we consider research methodology. If I give the brief introduction again about the research methodology, then first we try to identify a particular issue, or maybe you can consider this as the topic of your research, and then try to collect the information and the data in order to provide evidences to form any solution to that particular problem. And then we try to analyze those data which we collected. After analysis, we try to disseminate and try to use the information obtained in order to sort out the problem and get your problem meaningful result. All right. So I think I'm clear here. Now, you should remember one thing, that research methodology and research methods, these are two different things. All right. Research methods and research methodologies, these are two different things. And mostly research methodology has been misinterpreted with the methods. Methodology is different. Methodology is entirely different, and research methods are entirely different. So let's move on the difference between research methodology and research methods. Basically, research methodology is the theory. Research methodology is the overall theory and how research should be done. Okay. And it discuss every aspect of your research process. It starts with the research question development, and then going in order to collect the data, then process the information, and finally report writing. All these are the steps of your research methodology, which we will discuss in the further slides. On the other side, we call it as research methods or research design. Research methods are also known as research designs. Both we consider as same thing, which deals with the how you are going to collect and process your information or your data. So methods and research designs is basically a part in which you explain data collection process. Thus, in brief, I will explain again what is research methodology and what are research methods. Research methodology and research methods are entirely two different things. Research method is just a subset or part of research methodology. Okay. Research methodology is wide in nature, because research methodology starts with identifying your problem, selecting your objective, and ends with report writing, that is communicating the analysis result to the respondents. Whereas method is simply a technique. Research method or research is simply a technique which is used to obtain data. All right. Then the term research, the next question is, the term research is also being misused widely. All right. So many people are confused about the research. They search something on internet and they thought that they are doing research. So just want to clear the word research, the meaning of word research. The term research, we can consider why research has been used wrongly. For example, if you are collecting information without any clear purpose, or without having any clear idea, or without facing any issue, that is not a research. Just collecting facts or information with no clear purpose is not a research, right? For example, if I want to buy a new iPhone, buy a new phone, right? A new cell phone. I want to buy a new cell phone, and I'm collecting information about the phones without any purpose, without any process, without any comparison between the brands of the phone or different procedures. I have not set any parameters on which I'm going to collect any information. So that research, that thing is not a research. All right. That is a process of collecting the information only. That is not a research. That is just information. So when you search something on the internet without any specific objective, specific purpose, specific mechanism, that is not a research. Research have a clear purpose. Research have a clear objective to achieve. Research have a predetermined objective. So, firstly, select the objective, then go for research. Right? And the second misconfusion is, you are not supposed to collect data, that is reassembling and reordering facts or informations without interpretation. You are collecting the data, you are assembling the data, organizing the data, presenting the data, but you are not done any analysis on that. You are not supposed to be done any analysis. You are not supposed to be reach to the conclusion that data, that collected data is only a collection of data without interpretation, without analysis. Any data cannot be said as research, right? So you are not supposed to collect data and do not do any interpretation. That is not research. Thirdly and finally, as a term to get your product or idea noticed and respected. So some people, they use this word, this research word, because they know there is a respect associated with the word research, that I am a researcher. Okay, they feel respectful in that I am a researcher. So if you are doing so without any purpose or without any clear indication of your objective, that is not a research. Only for without any objective you are doing your research for gaining your respect, that is not a research. So now, the research methods. Now come to the research methods. There are different research methods. There are different classifications of research methods. So firstly, we need to identify the different methods. Let's see what are the different research methods, or what we can say that the different classification of research. All right. Normally, research can be categorized into two types. First one is basic research, and second one is applied research. All right. So, the first category, where you are trying to improve the already existing body of knowledge, or you are trying to search a common solution to a problem. That means basic research is universe in nature. When you are trying to search a common solution to a problem which is faced by a humanity, by a large community, that is known as basic research. You are trying to extend the body of knowledge, that is called as basic research. All right. You are trying to expand the already existing knowledge, that is basic research. But when we talk about the second category, that is applied research, where you are facing any problem, any specific problem, that is basic problem is not specific but applied problem is specific in nature. It has a specific objective, specific goal. For example, if we want to know the sales that are being declined for a particular company, particular organization, if you want to see why the sales has been declined for that particular organization, and you use research to find out the solution of that declining that problem, this is applied research. So basic research is universal in nature and applied research is specific in nature. Basic research is applied in a universe. When we do a research for the universe, that is basic research. But when we do a research for a specific organization, for specific institute, that is applied research, right? So as we know, as basic research and applied research are the two most common methods, types of research. But we have all other classifications of research which can be basic or can be applied as well. So these types are descriptive research. First one is descriptive research. Descriptive research is basically that only describes the characteristics, describes the characteristics of something. Second one is exploratory research. That research explores new insights, new phenomena, new facts. That is exploratory research. And when we look the cause and effect relationship of any fact, any phenomena, what are the causes and what will be the effect of that, then we use the causal research. All right. Then we have experimental research. Experimental research is basically that research that observe a particular group. And associational research associates between two phenomena, two facts, two variables. It shows the relationship, impact. That is associational research, that is associated with one fact, is associated with other fact. That is associational research. And lastly, we have comparative research. Comparative research compares different set of groups. There is a small difference between experimental research and comparative research. In experimental research, we have to observe a single group. We have different groups, but we have to observe different groups individually, separately. But in comparative research, we have to compare different groups, compare two groups or more than two groups uh, within or between each other, right? So these are the basically types of research. Now the thing is research. Now let's see different research is based different types of research. We have to select the research, we have to uh, select the type of research. So now the major challenge is how to choose the research type. What is the research type, what is basically the research we are using in. So the research is basically based on the certainty and uncertainty of the situations. All right. So if the situation are certain, if we know the situation, if there is some result which we can know uh, about the situation, that is completely certain. In case of completely certain situations, we use causal research, comparative research, associational research, or descriptive research. Okay, all right. So it means when we know the variables, when we know the situations, we can compare that, we can associate that, we can find out the relationship between those variables, those situations, those facts. We can describe those facts. and we also can make the cause and effect relationship between them. All right, so where the situation is completely certain, we will use causal research, comparative research, associational research, as well as descriptive research. But when the situation is completely uncertain, when we don't know the result, don't know the parameters, don't know the variables, don't know the facts or phenomena, then we use the exploratory research, because exploratory research is used to explore some new sites, explore some new insights. So in that case, we need to choose the exploratory research for our research topic. So when we talk about exploratory research, what does it mean? Exploratory research focuses on exploring the new insights from the existing phenomena. All right, it is the initial research that is conducted to explore, clarify, and define the nature of the problem only. All right, it does not provide any conclusions. It is not a conclusive research. It does not reach any conclusion. It does not provide any evidences. It only helps to diagnose a situation. It only screens different alternatives. It provide a guidance to find out the best possible alternative. It discover new ideas, and most importantly, it is used to answer three different questions, that is what, why, and how. Exploratory research deals with what, why, and how. All right. So as you see, what, why, and how, these are the exploratory factors from which we have to explore different factors. So exploratory research, as the name suggests, it only helps to explore different facts or insights from the existing phenomena, right? Then we have different another type of research is quantitative research as well as qualitative research, which I have not mentioned in the previous slide, that is qualitative and quantitative research. So as when we talk about quantitative research, quantitative means which we can count, which we can which can be measured in the term of numbers. So in quantitative research, this is statistically reliable information that can be generated to a large population. Quantitative research provides specific numerical measures such as performance ratings, performance of an organization, effectiveness of your various messages, awareness or interest in issues or products. It basically deals with the quantities of the data, which can be numbered, which can be measured in the form of numbers. Then quantitative research can measure performance over time or set specific quantifiable goals which can be measured. Okay. Then the collection method of quantitative research can include telephone, mail can be written, or web intercept, or interactive voice response. These are the methods to collect the quantitative research. Then we have qualitative research. Now, the qualitative research does not deal with the quantities of the data, does not deal with the numbers of the data. It does not include any numbers which can be measured. Okay, it allows you to see and hear participant opinion expressed in depth and in their own words, right? So it includes the survey method, focus group method, one on one interview method, and sometimes web mail also. Okay, so participant driven and often leads to unexpected insights. Qualitative research can help to show why participants think, feel, and react the way they do. Quantitative research also allows you to see first-hand reactions to products, materials, messages, and ideas. So this is all about qualitative research. Then we have descriptive research. As the name suggests, that descriptive research describes, and it describes what? it describes the characteristics of a population. It describes the characteristics of a fact, characteristics of a phenomena. Okay. It provides some understanding of the nature of the problem. So descriptive statistics basically deals with the who, what, where, when, how, but not the why. All right. So the difference between the exploratory research and descriptive research is now clear. In exploratory research, we have to question why. Let's see. This used to answer questions what, why, and how. So exploratory research deals with why, but descriptive research does not deals with why. It deals with who, what, where, when, and how. Right, because these are the factors, these are the parameters who can define the characteristics of a nature, of a problem, of a phenomena, of a population. Right, so descriptive research does not focus in on the question why. Now the next type of research is causal research. As I discussed earlier, that causal research is that research which creates the relationship between cause and effect. All right. So it looks at cause and effect relationship. It is conducted to identify the cause and effect relationship. The statistics we can use in causal research are correlations, because correlation is associated is shows the degree of relationship between two or more variables, and those two or more variables are associated somewhere. So these causal research uses the statistics such as correlation, regression, which we use mostly to find out the impact of one variable on the other variable, then t-test, ANOVA, etc. All those statistics are used in causal research to find out the cause and effect relationship between two variables. Now, causal research can further be divided into two more categories: that associational research that looks for the relationship only, and comparative research that looks for the differences. All right. So, for causal research, the research designs, we can use the research designs are experimental research design, quasi experimental research design, ex post facto analysis, time series analysis, predictive analysis, correlational analysis, and so on. So these are the basically research designs we can which we can use in causal research. And the statistics which we can use for causal research are t-test, ANOVA, correlation, multiple regression, chi-square, Spears-Monroe test, and so on. So these statistics includes parametric as well as non-parametric tests. Both tests are I have explained in this slide for the causal research. So these are the research design and these are the statistics for causal research. That is for the associational research, which is only used for the to know the relationship between the variables, right? And comparative research looks for the differences, how one variable is different from another variable. So these two are the types of causal research. Now let's move on to the research process. Now we are very clear on different types or classification of different types of research, whether basic research, applied research, qualitative research, quantitative research, causal research. All right. So we are very clear on different types of research. So let's move on to the research process. That is the final objective of our today's session. For this, I am going to tell you the 8 steps research process in which we do a scientific research, no matter it is a quantitative research, qualitative research, descriptive, exploratory, no matter what type of research is this. But in any form of research, we need to follow these particular steps, these 8 steps. So please mark these steps and try to figure out how we will do all steps. All right. So in between the explaining the research process, I will give you a small business problem, and you have to identify the you have to identify the research questions from that business problems. All right. So let's start with the research problem, research process. The first step of research problem is problem discovery and definition. All right, this is the most important step of research process. And after that, we have to review the literature. Then we have to we have to make the research design. Then we have to do the choose the sample and do the sampling process. Then we have to collect the data, that is data gathering. Then we have to analyze data process means the classification of data, organization of data, presentation of data in the form of tables, charts, graphs, presentation of data. All right, arranging the data, that is data processing. And after after concising the data, after arranging the data, we have to analyze the data. And as we know, research is incomplete without analysis. And as well as to conclude. All right. And so the next step is conclusions. And after conclusion, we have to communicate our result to the respondents. For that, we have to prepare the report. We have to write the report of that research. Then we have to go again to the first step, that is discovery and definition, and so on. So this is the research process, which is never ending process. So this includes 8 different steps. Now here is the step 1, that is problem discovery and definition. So the problem discovery and definition is the first step. All right, it includes problem, problem related to management problem, business problem, these problem. Okay, opportunity or monitor options. But when we define our problem, we must discover our problem. All right, so we have to discover before definition of the problem. So let's take an example of problem discovering and definition. I will give you a business problem. You are requested to convert this business problem into the research questions. Before this, the problem formulation, problem generation, problem definition, problem discovery is important. As the popular saying by Albert Einstein is also there, the formulation of problem is often more essential than its solution. That is, that this statement or this quote defines the importance of the first step, that is the formulation of the formulation or identification of the problem. That is, problem generation is must. If you have a problem, then you will be able to find out the solution of that problem only. Okay, if you don't have any problem, so you need not to be do any solution for that. All right, so for research, you must have any problem and a research problem. So this is the research problem. I'm requesting the participants to please go through the research problem, which we will try to translate into research objectives. Before that, research objectives, we will try it to translate to research questions. Okay, and then research questions to research objectives, and finally formulate the research hypothesis from the research objective. Okay, so basically it is a small activity for today's session, that I am giving you this business problem. Okay, now from this business problem, we have to firstly identify the research questions. All right, then we have to translate that research questions into research objectives. All right, and after research objectives, we have to formulate the hypothesis from the research objectives. All right. Mostly, this is a most challenging issue for a new researcher, that it is there is mostly basically different problems in the selection of any business problem. Then the problem next problem is how to formulate the research questions, now how to convert the research questions into objectives, and how to convert the research objectives into hypothesis, how to form hypothesis from the research objectives. So the problem is, did business opportunity development interventions of e-Chopal has any impact on capability development of people of states where e-Chopal is functioning? Right. So I'm giving you 5 minutes. You have to identify research questions as per your knowledge. All right. Yes, anyone who want to explain what are the different research questions from this research problem? I think I am clear on the research problem given to you. I'm explaining the research problem. I just want to check here the impact of opportunity development interventions of each opal on capability development. All right. So when we choose the topic we can say the topic is the impact of business opportunity development interventions on capability development. Yes, anyone want to explain the research questions? Okay, shall I explain? Hello, hello, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we have a business problem now. Uh, think about the business problem. I have a research topic, that impact of business opportunity development activities or interventions on capability development. Right. I have to find out the impact of business opportunity activities on the capability development of each of our users. Right. So we have three aspects. First is, we have a business opportunity development interventions or activities. Right. And second is, we have capability development on the other side. And thirdly, we have to find out the impact of first one on the second one. All right. So in terms of variables, if I explained is it in the term of variables, then the first variable is business opportunity development activities. Right. This is our first variable. Capability development is our second variable, second construct, right? So we have to find out the association in the form of impact, right? So for that, we have to find out first what are the different development interventions. So our first research question is, what are the business development interventions? Then on the second hand, we have to know the capability development, that is the parameters of capability development. And thirdly, we have to know the impact of first one on the second one, right? So we can make major three research questions from this research problem, right? First one is one first variable is business opportunity development intervention, and second variable is capability development. So firstly, we have to know the first variable, that what business opportunity development activities are. Secondly, we know the capability development, how to measure capability development. What are the measures to, what are the measures or parameters? What are the parameters to measure the capability development of people, right? And thirdly, we have an association. We have to associate that first variable from the second variable. So let's move on the research questions. We have three research questions. Okay, we have translated the business problem into research questions. These three questions are: first is, what business development activities were conducted by each opal? That is related to first variable. That is related to our first variable. This is business development interventions. That is business activities. What are the basic development activities that were conducted by each opal? Second, we have to identify the parameters of capability development. So our next research question is, what are the parameters of capability development? Right? And third is, how did each opal activities affected the life of rural people and enable their capability development? That is, third one is related to know the impact of first variable on the second variable. All right. So these are the three research questions that is based on the research problem. And now we have research objectives. All right. In the next slide, we are going to translate the research questions into research objectives. So the first research objective on the basis of previous research questions is to determine the awareness of each opal activities and capability development issues among rural people. So this is basically based on the first research question: what business development activities were conducted by each opal? For that, we have set the objective that we have to determine the awareness of each opal activities and capability development issues among rural people. All right. Estimation of trust and participation of rural people on each opal, right? And third, we have to identify various aspects of capability approach and business opportunity development by each opal and establish the relationship thereof, right? To know the impact. This is related to our third research question. To know the impact, we have to identify various aspects of capability approach and business opportunity development, right? Then we need to form the hypothesis from the research objectives. So as we know that a research hypothesis can be of null hypothesis as well as an alternate hypothesis, but we will use the null hypothesis here to in this example. The first null hypothesis is, rural people do not trust and participate in each opal activities for enhancing their capability level. So this is from the research objective. This is just an example. You can create your hypothesis, you can formulate your hypothesis, as well as you feel comfortable in feeling the in forming the hypothesis. All right. Second, we have each opal developed no significant business opportunities for the rural masses. Thirdly, business development opportunity does not affect the parameters, components of capability. There is significant difference in the level of education of people, and this is the education of level of education of people. You make it on the basis of gender, that there is no significant difference in the level of awareness among male people as well as female people. There is no significant difference in the awareness level of income, people whose income is below this and whose income is above this, right? So it is totally depends on the research and nature of research. All right. So the first step, after the first step, we have learned how to generate a problem, how to choose a topic, how to generate a problem, how to formulate a formulate a research questions, how to formulate research objectives, and how to formulate the hypothesis from the research objectives. All right. So now move on to our next step, that is reviewing the literature. Reviewing the literature is the next step. Here, I want to clear something, that literature review and review of literature sound similar, but these are two different terms. Right? Basically, literature review is wide in scope, it is general in nature, it has infinite possibilities. Whereas, review of literature, or we can call it as ROL, has narrow in scope, specific in nature, and it has finite possibilities. All right. So if you have a specialization in finance, let's take an example. If you have a specialization in finance, then finance is a very wide area or domain. All right. You need to identify your area from finance, whether you have to cover all the aspects by go through the literature review, that is in what area you are interested, that is derivatives, you are interested in derivatives, shares, portfolio managements, or anything else, right? Then you need literature review for this, right? Review of literature means you have a specific objective, like literature review is used before selecting your topic. All right. So literature review helps to select your topic, whereas after selecting your topic, you have to just specific about the objectives, the analysis of the previous research is done on the same topic. Then you go through the review of literature, not literature review. All right. Basically, literature review helps to find out to choose the topic from the very wide topic. Okay. But if you choose your topic from the wide area, wide scope, then you do the review of literature to find out the solution for your objectives. All right. So there is difference between literature review and review of literature. Then go through the third step, that is research design. Research design is basically a blueprint of scientific study. It includes research methodologies, tools, and techniques to conduct the research. So basically, we have three types of studies, that is quantitative studies, qualitative study, or a study which includes both qualitative as well as quantitative aspects. All right. So for quantitative research, we use different types of research designs, like experimental research design, quasi-experimental research design. Experimental research design is basically based on the hit and trial method. Then quasi-experimental, time series, correlational, comparative. These are the research design which we can use for the quantitative research. And for the qualitative research, we have different types of research design, that focus groups, interviews, case studies, historical datas, okay, grounded theory. These are the some research designs which we can use for the qualitative research. And sometimes we are doing that type of research in which we are including our quantitative research as well as qualitative research. For that, we have different research designs. The first one is large scale study research design. In that type of research design, large scale study using many people to answer research questions. The second type is exploratory research design, which includes small to moderate scale research exploring the research questions. And the third one is pilot study, which initially study using a small amount of people to test a research question. So these are the research designs for different types of research. Then we have a fourth step, that is sampling. So before knowing sampling, we need to know the meaning of sample, right? So the sample is the subset of the population. What is population and what is universe? Population is actually the universe. Population or universe is defined is defined the total number of items available in the universe, in the population. That is the universe population. But when we talk about the uh, method to choose to not to choose, not to go through the census method, that in which we have to take each and every item of the series. When we have large data, we cannot use each and every data for our research, every respondent for our research, every population for our research. So we choose the sampling method. So sampling is the process of selecting a larger group of participants within the intent of generalizing from the smaller group, right? So sampling is basically a part of a subset of population. All right. And choosing that population, a subset of population is known as sample, and the method to choose that sample from the population is known as sampling. All right. So sampling is the process, simply a process of choosing the sample. All right. Then we have next step, that is data gathering, data collection. Data collection is we have two techniques for data collection, that is quantitative technique and qualitative technique. Both we have we both techniques we have used for data gathering. Now we have already covered the data gathering concept for in the first slide, that is meaning of research methodology, ingredient of research methodology. So the in the definition of research methodology, the second ingredient was collection of data, right? So data gathering is also related to collection of data from secondary sources as well as from primary sources. These two sources are used in the research. All right. So we can gather the data through interview, questionnaire, checklist, surveys, observations, focuses groups, right? Now the next step is data analysis. As we already talked that in research methodology, we have three types of data analysis, that is univariate data analysis, bivariate data analysis, and at last multivariate data analysis we have. So the process of turning raw data into information is known as data analysis, right? Analysis procedures can change from simple frequency distribution to complex multivariate data analysis techniques, that is known as data analysis, right? And the next step is conclusion and reports. So after analyzing the data, it is needed to express the data, to communicate the data for to the respondents in the form of report, in the form of report writing, right? So this is basically the layout of a report. First step of writing of a report is executive summary, then introduction, then problem definition and objectives, then body of methodology, then results, findings, limitation of the study, right? So we have to communicate our result communicate our result in the form of reports, like executive summary, in different steps like executive summary, introduction, problem definition, body of methodology, results, finding, limitations. All right. Then come to the step 8, or we can say that step 1 again, return to the first step. that is problem discovery and definition. So problem definition is the indication of a specific business decision area that will be clarified by answering some research questions. All right. So in research there are different types of questions, that what, how, where, when, why. All right. But in research, what is the deeper question? The deeper question is what and why. That is, what did he do? Why did he do that? Okay. So the basic deeper questions of the research is what and why. All right. This is the process of problem definition, that is ascertain the decisions maker objective first, then go through the background of the problem, that identify the problem, isolation of the identification of the problem, that determine the unit of analysis, determine relevant variables, what is the dependent variable, what is independent variable in the study, what are the exogenous variables, what are the control variables in the study, that you need to determine. And at last state research questions and objectives, right? Now you need to consider some factors very carefully while doing your research. You should not include your personal feelings and beliefs in the research, right? So the first one is the impact of your personal feelings and beliefs. This is the main factor which you have to consider. You should not include your personal feelings and beliefs in the research. It is called research bias. All right. If you are using, or you are tilt towards some specific solution before starting a research process, it means that you are already biased. All right. So now the second step is access to data. Second point is access to data. In some cases, most of the universities have access to data in terms of data sheets, data streams of Scopus, in terms of Web of Science, but it is not the case in all over the world, right? The data is restricted from the for the literature review only. This is the similar case when you are going to collect data. Maybe the company who give you the restricted information, and maybe they will not allow you to use that information. Thus it should be considered clearly. Okay. We should clearly identify our respondents from where the data will be collected. Then the third factor to be considered while doing research is time and other resources, right? We have to focus on time. That is, what is the exact time to do the research, whether I have to complete the research in 1 year, in 5 years, what are the nature of the research, whether it is a longitudinal research, or this is a one time research. All right. So and other resources, like what is the budget of that particular of doing that particular research. Okay. What are the ethical issues? Next point is, what are the ethical issues for that. And validity and reliability of the data is also a very important factor which we have to consider while doing our research. For that, we have different statistical tools also to check the validity and reliability of the data. We also use the skewness and kurtosis as we talk about the normality of the data. Okay, validity of the data and reliability of the data, it is also a very important factor which we have to consider while doing our research, right? Now remember, after all the things, I must say one thing, which is basically, there is no one best way for undertaking all research. All right. Each research, each topic is different, and you may face different issues and challenges than your friend, right? And even though, if you are working on different papers, on different research articles, on different research projects, every time you will face different challenges, because each research project is different in nature, in terms of resources, in terms of time, in terms of efforts, in terms of ethical consideration, and in terms of all other procedural methods. Every research is different. right? So it means that there is no best way for undertaking all research. It does not mean that you are understanding the research methodology, then that you will be able to do all kinds of research easily, right? No, each research is different from each research is different from other research. Some part universally applicable, but most of the time you have to learn by doing. Okay, maybe in some data collection, the data data analysis, the different data analysis required different types of statistical tools. Okay, then you need to learn those statistical tools, that statistical techniques. So keep yourself open for learning. That is the best message I'm giving you. And the research methodology will allow you to learn a new skill, new knowledge every day, right? So you can acquire, you can improve your knowledge, your skills during this subject. It will allow you to faster your learning process, and it will give you ability to access the latest information around the world, right? So that's all from my side. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much for watching this.